Good evening. Welcome to the National News Broadcast. I'm Kasuni Balachandra.
A very good evening indeed. I'm Charita Minipurarachi and here are today's headlines.
Ranil Wickremesinghe resigns from the post of Prime Minister. Mahinda Rajapaksa will be sworn in as the new Prime Minister tomorrow. The President receives the blessings of the Sacred Tooth Rally. The Sri Lanka Podujana Perabuna says that the Financial Crime Division will be strengthened and offenders will be brought before justice. Devotees are being accorded the opportunity to venerate the new crest gem of the Ruanvali Mahasaya till midnight tonight. His Holiness the Pope visits Thailand, commencing an Asian tour.
And now the news in detail. Moving on to the local news, opposition leader Mahinda Rajapaksa will be sworn in as the Prime Minister of the new caretaker government tomorrow. The President Ranil Wickremesinghe is scheduled to meet President Gotabaya Rajapaksa tomorrow morning regarding his resignation from the post of Prime Minister. Thereafter, the President is scheduled to appoint a new caretaker government. Party leader Mahinda Rajapaksa is scheduled to take oaths as Prime Minister at 1 p.m. tomorrow. He is scheduled to assume duties as the Prime Minister office at 3:30 p.m.
President Gotabaya Rajapaksa has venerated and sought blessings of the Sacred Tooth Relic at the historic Sri Dalanda Maligava in Kandy this morning. The President was warmly welcomed by the people when he arrived at the Kandy town.
දළදා වහන්සේගේ ආශිර්වාදය දළදා වහන්සේට වන්දනා කොට ලබා ගැනීම සිරිත් සම්මතයක් බවට පත් වෙලා.
Devadana Nilame Pradeep Nilangadala has welcomed the President upon arrival at the Maligava.
දළදා මන්දිරයට ඇතුළු වන ආකාරය අපට දැක බලා ගන්නට පුළුවන්. දළදා වහන්සේ වන්දනාවට එතනදී එතුමන් එකතු වෙනවා ඇති.
He has also presented a souvenir to the President.
President Gotabaya Rajapaksa has called upon the Mahanayaka theatres of the Malwata and Askiriya chapters and receives their blessings today. The President has first met the Mahanayaka theatre of the Malwata chapter, Most Venerable Tippatuave Sri Sumangal Thera. The Mahasangha, headed by the Mahanayaka theatre, has chanted Sat Pirit and extended blessings to the President. Anunayak of the Malwata chapter, Venerable Nyankoda Vijitasirisera, said that it is an extremely exemplary act of the President to accept his responsibility of the Sri Lankan government in front of the Anuradhapura Mahasaya. Thereafter, the President has visited the Askiriya Mahavihare to meet and receive blessings of Mahanayak of the Askiriya chapter, Most Venerable Warakagoda Sri Jnanaratana Thera. Mahanayak of the Askiriya chapter, Most Venerable Warakagoda Sri Jnanaratana Thera, said that the people in the country have clearly understood that Gotabaya Rajapaksa is their leader who is able to act in a constructive manner after thinking accurately. The Venerable Thera further said that the President has an appropriate vision and appropriate plans. Thereafter, he said that they have confidence that the new President would be able to resurrect the country in a short time and to allow the people to live a prosperous life. Anunayaka of Daskira chapter Venerable Venerawe Upalithera said that it is extremely clear that the administration of the new president would become virtuous. The fact that has been amply reflected through the removal of the photographs of all, including the president, from offices and replacing them with the state emblem. It is very certain that the Gotabaya law and not the Gotabaya fear that was created will reign in the country. He has also wished the new president will have the fortune to remain as president until they listen to the Teva drumming of the Sri Dalanda Maligava, the chanting of the triple gem in the sacred Sri Pada, and the shining of the ball leaves at the Jayasri Mahabodhi. Later on, the President has called upon the Mahanayaka of the Ramajanikaya, Most Venerable Napane Premisitera. On this occasion, the Mahasanga has blessed the new President. Thereafter, the President has visited Raja Pavanarame in Getabe to meet and receive the blessings of Most Venerable Kappetiagoda Sirivimala Nayakathera.
Ranil Wickremesinghe has decided to resign from the post of Prime Minister. He has conveyed his decision to the media through a special statement. Ranil Wickremesinghe said that he met President Gotabaya Rajapaksa yesterday and talked with him on future parliamentary activities. He added that although they have the parliamentary majority, they have decided to allow the new president to establish a government according to his choice by acknowledging the mandate received by him. Ranil Wickremesinghe further said that he appreciates and respects democracy and also acts democratically. He added that accordingly he has decided to resign from the post of Prime Minister by paving way for him to form a new government. He also said that he will officially inform his decision to the President tomorrow.
Several parliamentarians of the United National Party have expressed opinions at several media briefings today. Parliamentarian Harin Fernando said there is a possibility of going for a general election through dissolution of Parliament by the 8th of March. He added that they are pondering as to how they should carry forward their new political program. He added that they will have to find an alternative if they were not given an opportunity to do so. In such a situation, it is more appropriate to keep away from politics. Harin Fernando further said that there is no point in remaining in Parliament if people who should not represent Parliament are elected to the Parliament. He added that his responsibility is to give room to the new President to allow him to carry forward his vision and also to allow him to appoint persons of his choice. The parliamentarian added that therefore he is grateful to Ranil Wickremesinghe for taking the decision to step down. However, there should not be any other games. It is not appropriate to return at once to the portfolio of opposition leader. Harin Fernando also said that they will unleash a new journey from tomorrow with a group that think anew.
Retired Major General Kamal Gunratna has assumed duties as new Defence Secretary at the Defence Ministry this morning. He was appointed to the post by President Gotabaya Rajapaksa. The new Defence Secretary, who has arrived at the Defence Ministry premises in Colombo, was welcomed according to the Army traditions. Thereafter, Major General Kamal Gunratna Thereafter, Major General Kamal Gunratna has commenced duties as Defence Secretary.
එනිසා අධිකරු ජනාධිපතිතුමාට ශක්තියක් වෙලා එතුමාගේ න්‍යාය පත්‍රය ක්‍රියාත්මක කරන්නට පුළුවන් ආශිර්වාදයක් බවට ඔබතුමාට පත් වේවා කියලා ප්‍රාර්ථනා කරනවා.
Chiefs of the Staff of Defence, the 3 armed forces commanders and high-ranking officials in the Security Division were also present on this occasion.
New Secretary of the Treasury, his article says that measures have to be taken to restore the lost dignity of the Treasury as the country has received a leadership with a new vision through a clear people's mandate. He made these remarks commencing duties as Secretary of Treasury this morning. Secretary Azhar article further said that cooperation of all is sought to carry forward the country on this basis of state security, economic development and welfare procedures. New Secretary of the Treasury Azhar article said that the Treasury is neither volleyball field nor a sports stadium. The Treasury has to take decisions according to conscience and must always take decisions which it considers honestly as right decisions. The Treasury Secretary added that they have experienced the reality of the situation. He also said that they will further strengthen if there is correct leadership and a group to take correct political decisions. Secretary article said in conclusion that the country would emerge victorious if the officials honestly take the correct decisions.
The Sri Lanka Opposition Peramana says that the fraudulent groups will be brought before the law by strengthening the Financial Crime Division. It has also been reiterated at a media briefing today that the expectation of the government is to build a prosperous country. Dallas Anahappirma said that for the first time in history, not only the local media but even the spokeswoman of the State Department of the powerful United States have acted in a shameful manner and used the election campaign to achieve their objectives. However, amidst all these developments in the last 24 hours of the campaign, nearly 7 million Sri Lankans have realized the truth. He added that nearly 7 million of the voters have rejected the practice of character assassinations. Dinesh Gunawardena said that Gotabaya Rajapaksa is an exemplary person who has pioneered an excellent election campaign in Sri Lanka's election history. He also said that he was instrumental in launching an environmentally friendly election campaign without unnecessary posters and leaflets. It has also been possible to implement the election commission during the election period. Another important factor has been his ability to present his program as a future head of state without any hatred, criticism of people. His program has been focused entirely on the future of the country, security and development. Wimal Veeravansha said that Maithripala Sirisena had appointed a commission to investigate frauds and corruption. He added that the commission had launched accusations against Sarath Premadasa for misappropriating millions of rupees of public funds. He also said that Rajitha Senaratne has also been accused for misusing state funds without taking over by the state of the Saitam private hospital. Vimal Veeravansha further said that the commission report has also launched serious charges against Akila Viraj Karyavasa. He also said that the recommendations of the report point out the need to implement the law against the culprits and to bring them before judiciary. He further said that they will act speedily to implement the law. CCTV camera scenes of the knocking down of a youth in Rajagiriya in a motor accident were erased. The youth still remains as a disabled person. His entire life has been destroyed. He said that investigations will be conducted in this regard as well. Vimal Veeravansha further said that 2 youth have given evidence and said that Patali Champika Ranavaka was behind the wheels of the vehicle at the time of the accident. He also said that the former regime has established an FCID. He added that this will be reorganized and will be turned into a law enforcing institute.
General Secretary of the United National Party, Akila Viraj Karyavasan, says that statements made by certain groups on the misappropriation of funds received for election campaign were based on false and unfounded allegations. He was responding to a statement made by parliamentarian Nalin Bandara to the media yesterday. Parliamentarian Nalin Bandara said that there is a question as to who has managed the funds received by the party. He has questioned whether the party funds were used in the election campaign. He added that there is a suspicion whether the monies were collected by any other group. Akila Viraj in a media communique says that the responsibility of funds raising for the election campaign was entrusted upon the steering office in Vauxhall Street. He further points out that all tasks entrusted upon Sirikota party headquarters by the steering office have been duly filled and also extended maximum support requested by the party. Therefore, the General Secretary stresses that if there was any misuse of funds received by the election campaign, it should be investigated by the Operations Office of Vauxhall Street. The UNP General Secretary further points out that none of these charges were raised in any of the evaluation meetings conducted in connection with the election campaign.
Intellectuals in numerous fields point out that President Gotabaya Rajapaksa has the ability to create a more secured, disciplined and developed Sri Lanka. They further say that it is important for all ethnic groups to get together and act as Sri Lankans.
Dear Dhamma friend, this is a wonderful time to develop my motherland and your motherland. Now we have a wonderful president. The President Gotabaya Rajapaksa, he is a kind person, he is a generous person, and he is a very well-educated person. In the future, I hope we will have successful Sri Lanka. I know Mr. President Gotabaya Rajapaksa very well. I was in Los Angeles at Lankaram Buddhist Temple a few years. At that time I met him. He has a lot of experience with many things. I hope in the future he make successful Sri Lanka for everyone. Please join with him, support for him, develop your mother country and my mother country.
This is the time now for us for nation building. This is not the time to divide the people. This is the time to unite. So I'm sure Mr. President is interested in seeing this country reaching its true potential. How do we do that? One important thing with this president is, unlike many other presidents in the past, he comes with a clear plan. He had time for the last 4 years through Viatmaga and several other organizations and policy making body to decide and to come out and draw a plan in respect of various areas. If you want the national security, he has a clear-cut plan as to how it should be. If you want education, he knows how the education should be uplifted. If you talk about national integration, he is certain in his mind how the national integration shall be made of. So in the light of that, I probably invite every one of the Sri Lankans to carefully think of his plan, his vision, and integrate into that. We call it as inclusive nationalism. That is a nationalism, a Sri Lankan identity where Sinhalese, Muslims, Tamils, Burghers and Malays all call themselves as Sri Lankans and work towards the goal.
We know the fact that it is quite challenging, the tenure of the current president, as he is inherited so much of issues which have not been resolved over the last 4.5 years. And at the same time, the people's expectation is very high and people want everything to be done over a night, and I'm pretty sure that it is not reasonable any one of us to think that everything could be done over a night. In my opinion, we have to re-engineer it, and the institutional setup should be refocused and the confidence should be built. And having huge public sector with 1.4 million people and 500,000 pensioners and 50,000 unemployed graduates and maybe a couple of 100,000 unemployed young people. Therefore, one of the biggest challenge is to meet the aspiration of youth. And in order to meet the challenge, we need to get the economy right. Now, we have to attract foreign direct investment, we have to encourage local investors, we have to encourage exports, and we also have to cut down the certain expenses that are possibly could have done. The third proposition that he has always emphasized in his speeches, that to secure Sri Lanka as a secure nation. I'm pretty sure that, and he will do a good job during his tenure of the presidency.
What as the citizens, you and I, need to do right now is to help and support Mr. Gotabaya Rajapaksa, the new elected president, to make sure that his election manifesto, the policies and the actions that he promised in this manifesto, be executed and be implemented successfully. And he has made some really interesting, very positive, exemplary actions, such as requesting all government organizations not to display persons' photographs, politicians' photographs, and instead display the state emblem, which is a fantastic move, and it sets an example for all of us. And as citizens, I think we need to take all these actions and statements in a very positive sense and do our bit as citizens to help Mr. Gotabaya Rajapaksa execute his election manifesto, the policies and the action plans he has promised in this manifesto.
And All Ceylon Bakery Owners Association said that it has been compelled to increase provisionally the price of 450 grams of bread from 5 rupees due to increase in flour prices on several instances. President of the association, M.K. Javardhan, said at a media briefing today that, however, there will not be any price increases in any other bakery products. The flour companies were reported to have increased the price of a kilo of flour by 8 rupees. The president of the association said that the Prima company has informed in writing yesterday on the price increase. The Prima company also said that if the Consumer Authority is engaged in conducting raids over selling bread at high prices, it will file court against such a measure. The bakery owners reiterate that the flour companies, the government and the Consumer Authority should jointly resolve the dispute.
The funeral of politician DMJ Ratnayake is scheduled to be held at Doluva Stadium in Gampola next Saturday. His remains now lie in his residence in Gampola. DMJ Ratnayake was 88 years old at the time of his demise. DMJ Ratnayake, who was born on the 4th of June 1931, had his education from Doluva Central College in Gampola. He was the 13th member of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party when it was inaugurated by late Prime Minister S.W.R.T. Bandaranaike in the year 1951. He was elected to Parliament in 1970. DMJ Ratnayake was also the General Secretary of the Podujana Eksat Peramuna when it was formed in 1993. DMJ Ratnayake held this position until his death. He had entered to the cabinet for the first time in 1994 as the Minister of Lands, Agriculture and Conservation of Forests of the government of former President Chandrika Bandaranaike Kumaratunga. He also held the ministerial portfolios of Food and Cooperatives, Post and Telecommunications, Upcountry Development, Rural Economic Development, Plantation Industries, Buddha Sasana and Religious Affairs. DMJ Ratnayake had also been the 14th Prime Minister of Sri Lanka and was also the most senior member of the SLFP. It was he who had created the Biodiversity Complex and Religious Centre in Ambuluwava, Gampola. He was the husband of Anula Yaparatna and the father of parliamentarian Anuradha Ratna and 2 daughters. Large crowds are arriving at his residence to pay their last respects to the remains of the late politician. The body is scheduled to be brought to the Parliament complex next Friday. Many parties have expressed their profound condolences over the passing away of DMJ Ratnayake. These parties included the SLFP and the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna.
Welcome back. Indian Foreign Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar has met former Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe yesterday. It has been reported that meeting focused attention on current political tendencies. Indian High Commissioner in Sri Lanka Taranjit Singh Sandhu has also taken part in the discussion.
Foreign Minister of India Dr. Subramaniam Jaishankar had a discussion with opposition leader Mahinda Rajapaksa. The Indian minister has arrived in the island with a message from Prime Minister Narendra Modi to President Gotabaya Rajapaksa. He met opposition leader Mahinda Rajapaksa in Colombo last evening. A Twitter message of the opposition leader says that the meeting has dealt on issues relating to the enhancement of bilateral cooperation. Indian High Commissioner in Sri Lanka, Taranjit Singh Sandhu and parliamentarian Namal Rajapaksa have also attended the meeting.
Ship Perekepo belonging to the Russian Navy has reached to the Hambantota harbour yesterday. The trainee vessel has arrived in the island on a 3-day friendly visit. The Sri Lankan Navy has accorded a traditional Navy salute to welcome the ship. The ship is comprised of 399 naval officers and sailors. During this day, Sri Lanka, the Russian Navy personnel will engage in friendly sports matches, cultural programs organized by the Sri Lanka Navy. They also expect to travel to important locations in the island.
The period granted to the general public to venerate the new crest gem with gold footing to be installed in the Ruan Valley Mahasaya will end at midnight tonight. The sacred Chudamanikya is on display at the Bandanayaka Conference Hall premises. Extremely large crowds were flocking at the BMICH premises to venerate the sacred crest gem. Chudamanikya will be displayed in a special stall constructed at the Ruan Valley Mahasaya sacred site from the 22nd to the 24th of this month for the worship of devotees. The sacred crest gem will be installed in the Chaitya on the 25th. The gold-plated pinnacle of the Ruan Valley Mahasaya will be unveiled on the 26th of this month.
"72,000 dengue patients have reported this year. Director of the National Dengue Control Unit, Dr. Arjun Jayasekara, says that the highest number of patients have been recorded from the Western Province. Dengue patients in large numbers have reported from the districts of Colombo, Kandy, Jaffna, Gampaha and Kalutara. Symptoms of the disease are high fever, severe headache and pain in muscles and joints as well as patches on the skin. It has been pointed out that the disease condition could be definitely diagnosed through blood tests conducted 2 days after having fever. Health sources says that the cleaning of houses and surrounding premises at least once a week is essential to control spreading of mosquitoes. It is important to clean water-retaining locations and as well as to release fish that eats mosquito larvae to such places. Other precautions to prevent afflictions of the deadly disease include wearing of garments covering the bodies of small children, usage of mosquito nets as well as to use medicinal items recommended by the physicians to dispel mosquitoes.
And now to give you a stock update, the All Shares Price Index closed at 6,138.59 points, dropped by 4.17 points, and the S&P SL20 Index closed at 3,036.16 points, also dropped by 26.75 points at the end of trading in the Colombo Stock Exchange today. The turnover was over 2,046,000,000 rupees. Here's a summary of the market details of the Colombo Stock Exchange today. Prior to winding up, let's have a quick look at the weather. The Met Department says a slight enhancement of showery condition is expected in northern and eastern provinces. Several spells of showers will occur in northern, north central and eastern provinces. Showers or thunder showers will occur at several places elsewhere after 2 p.m. Fairly heavy falls, about 50 to 75 millimeters, can be expected at some places in Sabaragamuwa and western provinces and in Kandy, Nuwara, Badulla, Galle and Mathura districts. Misty conditions can be expected at some places in western, Sabaragamuwa and central provinces during the morning.
And with that, we conclude tonight's news. Do it just tomorrow at the very same time. Good night.
Good night.